Well, here we go in quite an unusual edition of A Podful of Saints. This is on Tuesday, the 28th of October, 2025, a monumental day in the club's history. Jake, you rang me about 10 minutes ago with some news. You got it around about the same time, I guess, as well, Lee. And it is the news that Ian Culverhouse and Paul Bastock have quit their positions at Clarence Park. Here we are, 5 days from the FA Cup first round tie, to take over as management. Another club we believe have gone back to Kings Lynn, back up to Norfolk. Right, Jake, yes, you rang me with the news. You got wind of it early on. I didn't. I was out to a lovely walk through the countryside, not a care in the world.
Thanks, Dave. Uh, yeah, yeah, we heard a rumor earlier, didn't we, Lee? Sort of mid-afternoon, and I think at that point we were a bit like, no, that's not true, is it? But the source is normally fairly reliable, and then sort of did some digging on social media and the Kings Lynn fans forum, and there's comments there about Culverhouse coming in shortly. And I think so as the evening went on, as I say evening, it's only 6:10 for a bit of context. I think we started to think, uh-oh, this isn't looking good. And then, yeah, as you say, Dave, what, 15, 20 minutes ago, there was a post on the club website saying that they have departed just before the cup tie. And the sort of statement in question says that the other club, which you believe were Kings Lynn, had set a deadline. And Ian and Paul decided after reflection that they would go for that job instead of staying at Clarence Park and staying for the FA Cup tie. So I think it's a bit of a shock for everyone, isn't it?
When we were talking very briefly before we started recording this, I think you mentioned they could have hung on here and done a good job and got snapped up somewhere else further down the line. But we believe it's full time, isn't it,
Mm.
Lee? So they're not going to turn that down.
I mean, this is just so City, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is all unfolded. This morning, I was bouncing my way down to Clarence Park to pick up my Burton FA Cup ticket tabs, contemplating buying some merch, real sort of feel good vibe. The pitch was looking lush and a really good chat with all the staff and the players there. Really set me up for a whole week's worth of exciting engagement. FA Cup fever hits the city. And then, in good old traditional St Albans City fashion, it comes crumbling down into the biggest heap of shit you can possibly imagine. Full time or not, and look, there's going to be some context behind both sides of this argument, right? It's just poor. It's just so poor. Full time or not, there's a way to go about things. I'm sure that Kings Lynn have really sort of turned the screw on Culverhouse and Bazza. Bazza and I get on really, really, really well. I messaged him a bit earlier on, and the response I got, I was like, maybe the rumors are true. But look, I don't know where we go with this, Tabs. There's been a lot of, we are trying to absorb all this, Jake. My phone is going literally now. I've had to put it on silent. Yeah. It's really hard to put this into context at this minute. The importance of the biggest game in our season so far. It's just about timing. I'm pretty sure that Ian Culverhouse and Paul Bastock wouldn't have chosen to go before the FA Cup game, and they certainly wouldn't have chosen the news to be unfolded in this manner. However, what do? You don't want. We've said this before, Dave, haven't we? We don't want to have players at the club who don't want to play for the club, and I think that can also be contextualised in terms of the management. You don't want managers here who don't want to be here. Full time, okay, fine. If that's the way they want to go down, okay. But there's been so much bandied about. Did they get enough support? Was their heart really in it once we went down? There's so much to sort of stew over, and I'm sure we will do that in good time.
I think most people are going to say it's out of order for Kings Lynn to come in this week with this demand when we've got this game coming up. But maybe they got wind of another club might have been after these two. So this is your deadline. You take it or it goes. And Ian Culverhouse is a football man. He was a full-time player, Tottenham Hotspur, Norwich City. So all his life has been in football. So when a full-time offer comes up, he's not going to turn it down. When was he born? 1964, I think, something like that. So he's going to take a full-time job if it comes up now. Bazza is in a slightly different kettle of fish. He's got his own business still, which he runs. But also he can delegate that now, one would imagine. Maybe it's not so much full-time for him. Maybe it is. I don't know. But we're just speculating. Kings Lynn, yeah, you kicked us in the teeth here, boys, a bit. I don't know. I really don't know what to make it. But if you look at the job they've done at the park, they had 30 games to get us out of a relegation zone last season. It could be said they failed on the final day. But going away to a team that's looking to win the championship, that was always a tall order. We needed to make up the points before then, and we didn't. Then this season, after a slow start, starting to get it together results-wise, the football is awful. I'm sorry, there's no two ways about it. Overall, this season, the football has been really poor. But we'll be getting away with it. They've got a side that can grind out results. It'd be interesting to see what sort of football we play Kings Lynn, whether they change their approach. I don't know. I'm just guessing. How fondly will their spell be remembered at Clarence Park?
Interesting, isn't it? I mean, last campaign, as you say, they probably didn't do well. They didn't do the job they set out to achieve, which was keep us up.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a context, wasn't there, of we talked about the squad not being strengthened enough and players maybe not coming in when, and we heard rumours, didn't we, and words about players that we couldn't quite offer, that they expected to come in and maybe to turn it around. And also last season, I was actually talking to support about this on Saturday or the week before. There was a lot of individual mistakes from players that cost us points last campaign towards the end of the season that really sent us down. So, and this season, I say it's not been a glorious start, but what I would say is, and I say it's not been particularly memorable, but we've now gotten into that unbeaten run in the league, at least now after the Saturday's FA Trophy defeat. And Saints fans have started to get behind this management team. Well, they've been up behind the management team since the start, but we've been behind them and we've suddenly felt a bit of momentum. And what I want to say before we move on is just got a great message from Andy, who watches the podcast. I'm going to censor the language slightly. He says, what annoys me about this is the way it's put a downer on Saturday. So Burton Albion in the FA Cup coming up. It's been a poor or bad couple of seasons, and days like this coming Saturday are what makes it all worth it for Saints fans. And I think that's the context for every Saints fan going into this weekend now is even if we get an announcement, new manager or whatever it is, this is a real stinker to happen at this time of the year when we're coming up to, like Lee, this could easily be our biggest game of the season. If we don't reach the playoffs, this might be it now. We're out the trophy, you know, and to have our management leave 4 or 5 days beforehand is a real shocker.
I think you said, Jake, when we were talking earlier, there's already a St Albans City connection at Kings Lynn.
Yes, Joe Simpson isn't there, isn't he? So he left. When did he leave? Did he leave in the summer or just into the start of the season? Went there as assistant manager. Their manager then left. He's been interim. And by all accounts, it hasn't gone particularly well for him there. And the Kings Lynn fans, again, from reading social media earlier, were saying that they just need an experienced manager in charge. And they've certainly got that.
Yeah, they know the club well. I've been there, at least twice before, haven't they?
Yes, they have. So good luck to them. Oh, I think Lee's on his first glass of the episode. Remember when you're recording 10 minutes?
I think it's stronger than that. Right, we are trying to absorb it before we go along here, which is not easy. Yeah, are you able to take any of your messages there, Lee, and see what people are saying?
So I mean, there's quite. I mean, Bazza is actually has promised to call me back later on today. So hopefully with his tail in between his legs. But there's quite a bit of everyone's quite angry at the minute, and I think we really do need to sort of calm things down and see how this all plays out, because we don't really know the whole situation. We get a very good gist, of course, but it's the timing that really pisses me off. We had a couple of messages here suggesting that they wouldn't be too upset if Ian and Bazza were to have left in the summer following our relegation, but simply because They don't trust the club to get the appointment right. I think, again, look, not wanting to sort of put this on one person or particular era, but people really did feel aggrieved by Nobby coming back the second time around. And I think that when Ian and Bazza came in, I, for one, was absolutely adamant they were going to get us out of trouble. No doubt about it. I'm speaking to them, or speaking to Bazza at least, they could have done with a bit more quality, I think, but I'm not entirely sure that's saying something we don't already know. The quality wasn't quite there. The spirit was there, just really lacking towards the end when we needed the results the most. At the minute, mate, people are very, very angry, upset about the timing. Yes, okay, the FA Cup first round is vitally important. It is important, and it's a nice thing for fans to look forward to. And I think Andy is absolutely spot on with what he said to you there, Jake. I'm not entirely sure now. We would be going up on the trains and the coaches and the cars on Saturday, trying to enjoy the day, thinking about the score, who's going to play, what formation is going to play, what if this, what if that, what if we're still in the hat, and all this sort of stuff. Now it's just going to be about, what's going to happen to the club? What's going to happen to what are the owners thinking now? Is it a case of, God forbid, do we get Harry Wheeler back into the fold? And, it's...
I knew you were going to say that.
Well, to be fair, it's happened. I say it because it's happened before.
Yeah.
It's
that went well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but it's rather than enjoying what should be a very, unequivocally good emotional day, we are now looking at despair, disheartened, disgruntled, very angry. And to be honest with you, it just is so befitting of the club of late that this just unfolds. And I'm not saying that it's the club's fault per se, but it's just the way it all unfolds. It's just the way we do our business at the minute. It's just shocking. And Kings Lynn, hope they go down. First off, I've been to Kings Lynn, and listen, bearing in mind that I used to do a little bit of business with Kings Lynn.
I don't think you will in the future, Lee.
No, well, that's all right, mate. Well, if they paid me, then it would have been all right. But look, it's hard to comprehend, isn't it? We're trying to absorb it. We're trying to make a reasoned, balanced argument. I'm on my second bottle of Pinot Noir, so that's going to go down tremendously well. I don't know what you boys think, but I think it's just a case of what happens now. Are we looking for a stopgap, or do we? I actually feel. Forgive me. I'm going to feel sorry for the owners because, they should. Well, no. But hear me out.
Okay.
Because they would have been looking forward to Saturday, and they've got every right as much to look forward to that game as anyone else. But they've now got a job on their hands to sort of try and find someone to stable this ship, because although performances have been beneficial to us, Jake, and they've been really good, and they've put us on a good sort of footing, you can't help but think that this could potentially derail our season upside down.
Hugely. Sorry, Jake, because you look beyond those two going, and who have we got there to step in to cover? We've got one bloke who takes a training before the game, and that's it. So unless we do look at Harry, sorry, Jake, you can pick up on that now.
No, sorry, Dave. I just say I think this is a big question, isn't it, going into Saturday? And I'm sure we might get answers very soon. But Saturday isn't itself just one game, isn't it? And it is a big day, and Saints fans are still going to have time. And I suspect Saints fans may have even more of a better time in the pubs potentially beforehand, because their football may not be, But it's either Saturday. Do we maybe go for a Jamal Fifield potentially? Alex Dyer. They have had experiences potentially covering similar roles at Wildstone, even Bostwick. But then you also go to the point of, are they on contract? Will they be potentially looking to leave shortly? We don't know. But then longer term, do you rush into a decision for Saturday's game when actually the longer term picture is we've got a whole campaign coming up? So what do we do here? So it's a real, and like you, Lee, I am not envious of the owners right now. I wouldn't want to be in this position making these decisions at this point in the season. this is, a massive decision coming up now, and it will have been just as much of a surprise to them. We saw Culverhouse's post-match interview, didn't we? And he was talking about how big a day Burton Albion is for the club. We spoke to, Paul Bastock spoke at the St City Trust AGM a couple of weeks ago. He had some brilliant words about the club and how much it meant to them as a management team. Wasn't about, certain things. And now everyone at the club, I think, is probably going, what the heck has just happened? What on earth do we do now? Saints fans are feeling it, and I suspect every member of staff at the club is feeling it as well. So it really is a question of what next. Is it short term, long term? And it's frankly a nightmare, really, isn't it? As a fan, I am just sat here just dazed and confused. And it is football. We should expect these things to happen, of course, but it is just so unexpected, and it feels like a real gut punch at the minute, and it will do for everyone at the club.
I can't believe. Sorry, I've got a mix up there. Zane Banton is our captain at the moment, of course, but you got Michael Bostwick, who is injured, unlikely to play Saturday with his hamstring injury. Now, he's probably the senior figure at the club. He's a strong personality, and so I think you could see him taking charge of a team on Saturday to a larger degree, maybe with Zane between two of them. Zane's been there a long time now, so you got an experienced player with an experienced player at the club. Put them together and try and get us through Saturday, and of course a big one next Monday against AFC Welling. Beyond that, you can't see an appointment being made this week because that would be rushed. That would be ridiculous. It'd be a big mistake. So I think they will go for the senior figure of Bostwick for this week to hold things together. You've got other senior figures in there. You've got Jamal Firefield's out injured as well. Even Alex Moore, again, he's been around a long time. These people will know how to hold the team together for this short time. But that is literally just short time. But they are not the answer, one suspects.
No, I mean, I was under the impression that Bostwick was going to be training tonight. He knows his own body. He knows his own body. I think he came off Saturday just to sort of maybe, as soon as he felt anything, he was going to sort of come off. I wouldn't be surprised if the new media fellow was going to take some snaps down at training tonight and post them up online. Chances are you probably would see Bozzy sort of featured in there somehow. So I don't know how that all sort of pans in, but the club have got some decisions to make over the next 24, 48 hours, because all this has just come crumbling down, and yet they've got a very important match to still to sort of play. I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know how they're going to go about it, but I guess it's a case of what else can go wrong? It was it's so surreal to have this happen now. I've been fielding messages, so apologies if I've seen rude, but obviously people have been messaging in. It's just the timing, Tabs. It's just the timing. And I think that's what's really, really gutted some people. Unfortunately, Ian and Bazza are, they're getting it both barrels. And I don't really think you'd be too surprised. But ultimately, let's see how this plays out, because I don't think it's a travesty. I don't think it's the end of the season, but it certainly has put us back a few steps, certainly.
I've got a couple of messages here, one from a former player, one from a former manager. How big is the Burton Albion game? Would you take a victory there and sacrifice 6 league points for it? Because what we really want is to get back into National League South.
But surely, if you win at Burton, that should catapult you and propel you into some sort of good form, right? I mean, I don't get the context of the question, because
well, you answered it a few weeks ago. You said you would sacrifice the cup run for promotion, and now got even further in this cup run. We're through to the first round. Would you?
Yeah, but the question, but the narrative has changed. It's gone from would I not have a cup run, or would I not have promotion? You're talking about Burton or 6 points. 6 points doesn't equate to promotion.
No, but come the end of the season, there could be a difference between a playoff place and 10th.
Yes, okay, but again, there's a lot of football to be played. If it was like later on in the stages of the season, then obviously you have to focus on what's going on the league. But I mean, look, I think a lot of this is quite raw at the minute, and I understand the questions have to be asked. But I think would I forgo a Burton win over 6 points in the league? I think, to be honest with you, mate, I just want to see a response from the players. I want to see how they handle it, because they're the only ones at the minute that can affect any terms of progress in the cup and or points. I've said this all along. We've sold, 500 tickets for Saturday. You can absolutely bet your bottom line that all the fans are going to be on side for the team. They'll be singing and they'll be loud and they'll be proud. It'll be really interesting now. Don't worry about the fans. It'll be really interesting to see how the players handle all of this.
Yeah. And it's also tricky, isn't it? Because if we do have an interim in charge for Saturday, seems likely, and they somehow get a result at Burton, then that really throws the cat amongst the pigeons, doesn't it? So it's now, again, I don't envy being involved with the club at all in that sense. Like, there is so many factors to think about now. In the next couple of days, it's just mind-boggling. Yeah.
Right. Well, we can think about that in the background while we reflect on other matters at Park this week. It's going to keep cropping up during this conversation, I suspect. We look back quickly at last Saturday's game. We went out with the FA Trophy with a 2-0 defeat at home to Handwell Town. I suspect, certainly on terraces, we didn't give them enough respect. They're actually at the same level as us, Southern League Premier Division South, which puts them on a par with us. And I think most supporters felt they're a smaller club, which historically they are, no two ways about it. But already in the FA Cup this season, they've beaten Cray Wanderers from our division. So, they've got a bit of pedigree there. But should we have won it? We certainly had enough possession, didn't we? We lacked punch up front. Sam Besant, Dave Besant's son, in goal for them, made 3 really good saves. But it's not as if he was under constant pressure for the amount of ball we had. And 2 goals they got, they took them extremely well.
They did. And as you say, we had some decent chances, but it comes back to that old, I don't know if we've discussed this at all this season, about goal scorers and potentially a lack of true one.
We have.
Yeah, funny that. And I think it does come down to that on Saturday. We looked all right in periods. What you say about Hanwell is they were clinical, weren't they, in front of the goal, and we weren't, frankly. We had those chances. They took theirs, and in the end, that after that second goal, just totally killed it off, didn't it? Up until that point, we pushed, but it didn't quite work. And the loss of Michael Bostwick through injury, I think, was a big one. He went out very early on, and I don't think it's any surprise that they scored pretty soon after, and we never quite had that same confidence at the back. We've seen how important he's been in the last few weeks, and maybe we jinxed him by picking him up so much last week. But like you say, Dave, we didn't quite step up to maybe where we should do in terms of performances.
Ian made 3 changes. What was his 49th and final game for the club? With Harrison Smith coming in, Zane coming back from injury, and George Sippett starting. Now, for Smith and Sippett in particular, this was their chance to impress ahead of a Burton game, because they're not at the top of the pecking order. And unfortunately, I don't think either did themselves any favours, did they?
No, I thought Sippett's used to look bright in the first sort of 15, 20 minutes, and a lot of that was stuck out wide on the right. And he is a striker by his real play. So he was stuck out there and doing quite well. Harrison Smith, I don't know, Lee, we talked about him last week, didn't we? And you sort of had similar thoughts again on Saturday. He just didn't quite look like the man we're expecting right now, is he?
He offered very little, but on the flip side of that, he was being offered very little. He is the sort of player that does thrive on service, and I don't think at the minute we are playing the sort of way that you need to go searching for a bit more, and I'm not entirely sure that's Harrison's game. It just seems to me, one thing and please forgive me for anyone who knows Harrison, or if Harrison's watching, or any of the players watching, it just seems to me that his body language is just really wrong at the minute. It was, I don't know, Jake, we discussed this and I sort of pointed it out. He doesn't look, not interested, but as though he doesn't know how to get into the game. The game is just bypassing him at the minute. And I was saying this to the fella behind us. I want Harrison Smith to be the player we need him to be. But at the minute, I don't know whether that's just as a result of the system or the players around him or his mindset. I don't know, because we don't really know what's sort of going on behind the scenes with Harrison. But ultimately, he's not doing the business. He's not scoring the goals that we need him to score. He's been given every opportunity, Dave, to do that. You spoke there about giving the players opportunity, Sippets and Harrison. I think it's well established that Sippets will run forever and a day for you. But I think he's most impactful coming off the bench. We've seen this time and time again. But Harrison, I think there's a real issue there. And I know maybe a new manager coming in will get the best out of Harrison Smith. But I think he needs to show a little bit more in these games to get that chance in the first place.
Sam Besant took most of the plaudits for his 3 good saves as keeping Hanwell in the game.
But abuse as well, though, mate. Don't worry.
I can imagine he did. But in front of him, centre half, Dwayne Duncan. He won everything in the air. Number 5. He was absolutely superb. He's got a bit of pedigree. He used to play for Alton Town. And he was winning the balls that we should have been winning in there, and we weren't. He won countless headers, and that nullified Smith's threat. He couldn't win a header in the box at all. But not many people gave Hanwell credit for their performance Saturday. I thought, particularly the first half, they used the ball well. They played it well. They played some decent football at times going forward. They're on the back foot most of the time. They should have gone down to 10 men. Callum Woodcock got booked for fouling Surrey when he took him off a ball as well in the second half. As their highlight showing quite clearly when he escaped that one. But they did what we've done this season so many times, just battled it out, gritted it out, and they got the result. As you say, we just lacked that cutting edge, and we got exposed at the back 2 times. That run for the second goal, which it was at Geordie Mongoy. Great run. Should have been tackled, yes, but when you watch it back, it was a great run.
It was, and I don't think it was a case of people underestimating Hanwell. I think it was just a case of because of the run that we're on, and I definitely put myself front and centre in terms of this. People got carried away with the run of results that went before us, and think we were on a high. We had this 12-game unbeaten run. We were in the first round of the cup, home tie. I wouldn't say it was we were belittling Hanwell, it's certainly, but we were bigging up our sort of chances. And I, for one, definitely got carried away with the whole situation of where the club was. Obviously, a week in football come back and bite you on your arse, because that is exactly what has happened. Yes, I would say defensively for their first goal, we should have done a lot better. Jake alluded this a bit earlier on when Bostwick went off. Maybe it took a little bit of time for the defence to get themselves reset into the game. But we say this every single time, don't we? I don't think we play well enough for long enough in games at the minute, Dave. And ultimately on Saturday, that was our undoing. Second half, yes, we huffed and puffed a little bit more and we got those crosses in. But as you say, they were being repelled, and then we sort of tried to play in and around them. Almost, to be fair, we should have got something out of the game. We should have won, really, given the sort of chances we had. But Besant, he did his job properly. Unfortunately, if clinical strikers, maybe they put those away. But I think we're just clutching at straws now. We're out of the trophy, and the players who we thought were going to be put in sort of try and stake their claim for Saturday coming. They just didn't do that.
Right.
And Hanwell's reward for putting us out is an away tie with Merthyr Town. They must be delighted.
Oh, lovely.
Yes, right. We're going to move on quickly from that one because we have got an FA Cup preview coming up. Burton Albion on Saturday. We're at Pirelli Stadium, which probably everybody knows, and still probably trying to sort out how to get their tickets. Burton, not in the best of form. Gary Boyer's manager, 20th in the table, which I think they're super glued there because that's where they finished the last 2 seasons. For those of us a bit older in League Division 3, I don't know what it is called nowadays. Um, when the draw was made, they were 90 places above us. We've got it down to 84 now, so we're catching up fast. Going there is probably not the worst thing in the world. We went there, I think it was their first season after they left Eaton Park back in 2006-07. It might have been there a year before. And when we were in the Conference National for that 1 year, lost a boring game 1-0, also lost a boring game at home to 1-0. But this season, their home record, 1-2 drawn, 1 lost 4. They've only scored in one of the last 6 home league games. So hardly the worst time in the world to play them. The top scorers, Charlie Webster and Jake Beasley, both only got 3. Webster 3 in 14, Beasley 3 in 13. That includes 2 penalties. Last season, they went out of the FA Cup at home to Tamworth on penalties. So they're not to be feared, but obviously they're going to start as hugely favourites, aren't they? Especially after today's news.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 tickets going spare now, so if anyone wants those. Yeah, they are going to be favourites, especially after that. Obviously, they always were. They're, as you say, an established League One side. That's what it's called these days, Dave.
Is it? All right.
Yeah.
I won't catch on.
Yeah. And I think all the Saints fans travelling up there, as always, with these sorts of games, it's more in optimism than expectation, isn't it? Massively, it's more of a good day out and the chance of maybe causing an upset potentially. As you say, they went out to Tamworth. They haven't got a great record in the FA Cup. They've gone out. They've had a few upsets in the last couple of years. They have, Burton. So, yeah, I think that's again. It goes back to the departure of these 2, isn't it? I think everyone was going there expecting a nice day out, have some fun. And then attention potentially turns back to the league and see what the rest of the campaign does. But now it's like, oh, geez, everyone's now going, oh, well, I don't know what to expect on Saturday, but it probably won't be good. But there is always that hope, isn't there? Lee, you so often talk about the magic of the cup, and there is that hope. And we probably had similar views before we played Forest Green. They were top of the division at the time, they were flying, and, we caused a massive upset. And it'd be great to try and echo that. It's going to be hard now. But there is always that chance, isn't there? And magic of the cup, etc. And it's just such a shame that this has now put such a dampener on.
Oh, thanks for cheering us up, Jake. Fantastic stuff.
Sorry, we're going up. Wait, what? Wrong competition. We're going through.
I tried to find the last time they played an Isthmian League Premier Division club in the competition proper. And as far as I can see, it's back in 2001-2. They lost 2-0 at home to Gravesend and Northfleet, but Burton at the time were in the Northern Premier League, which was the equivalent of the Isthmian League back then, and as it still is, funny enough. Those days, yeah, as I said, they were Eden Park. They went on to win the Northern Premier League that season. Gravesend went on to win our league. So yeah, another thing in our favour. Everything's in our favour. Last 3 games, we've scored 2 goals, 1 goal, no goals. Last time we did that, we followed it with a 3. Our last 2 appearances in the first round of the FA Cup, we scored 3 goals. You've already mentioned Forest Green Rovers. The previous one was Carlisle. What a fantastic game that was. Yeah. Everything seems to be pointing in our favour, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, how much wine have you had? If Lee's had half a bottle, I don't have to think how much you've had, Dave. Yeah, and it's up until last Saturday, Burton weren't in great form. They'd lost to bottom of the division Peterborough. Peterborough had 10 men, but then suddenly they pulled a really good, important 1-0 win out of the bag away at Wimbledon. So they'll have gained a lot of confidence from that. So, but you've got to have some optimism, like you say, Dave. We always score 3 in the FA Cup first round, so I mean, it's almost inevitable, isn't it? So, but I mean, it's just, isn't it? It's the annoying thing is, Culverhouse and Bazza they'll have started to put plans together for Burton. They've had tactical ideas in mind, and now, as we're recording this, the lads are probably at training tonight, thinking, "What's the plan for Saturday now? Who's taking it? What are we doing?" So, that's the shame, isn't it? There's just no ability for the players and the squad to prepare. Hopefully they will be. I'm sure they will be. But yeah.
Even before the news of today, there was one club with nothing to lose really on Saturday, and one with a lot to lose. And now that chasm has got even greater. We go there with even less hope, one would imagine. Very vocal following, we know.
Mm.
Do you remember at Bristol City, we're going to win 7-6, we're going to win 8-7. We had to keep up in the chant there, and the goals kept going against us. So all the pressure, really, if there is any pressure, is on Burton. But you don't really feel there is pressure on them, do you?
I mean, I think there is. Just
Yeah,
as
okay.
probably Forest Green would have felt similar, actually. They were top of the league
Yeah.
and flying, weren't they? And they probably thought, this is going to be a nice cruise in front of the BBC cameras. And we caused an upset, didn't we? So it's going to be a similar approach. As you say, the pressure is going to be on Burton. They are in a relegation battle. That things off the pitch aren't perfect there. They've announced massive losses. They've got things going on there. Their squad is quite inflated. They're trying to get rid of players. Fans aren't particularly happy from what I'm reading on social media, online.
Just us or them?
Burton, I believe.
Oh, sorry.
And there is going to be that pressure. And the Saints fans that are going to travel, there's going to be hundreds of us. A lot of tickets have sold already. Saints fans will be enjoying the long journey up, no doubt, up there. And a lot of Saints fans will just be there for a great day out. We saw it at Grimsby, didn't we? When we went there, we only took 117, 120 fans. Now it looks like we're going to be taking 600, 700 Saints fans up to Burton. The Saints had a great day at Grimsby, and it will be the same at Burton, whatever the result. And like you said earlier, Lee, the fans will be behind the team, won't they? So if there is a storyline for an upset, this is it, as unlikely as it may seem.
I've settled for a repeat of Louis Theophanous' goal that day.
Oh,
got at Grimsby.
what a stunner.
Yes.
One thing I will say, fellas, is that they should always have enough, more than have enough, to sort of turn us over. One thing I don't want to happen now, because something like this could do one or two things, Dave, can't it? It can really sort of, the team can galvanise together and they can just hunker down and they can make life difficult for sort of Burton. And who knows? Who knows? If we keep it tight, a breakaway goal or a set piece or whatever, who knows? One thing what I don't want to happen now is for us to get absolutely humiliated and sort of turned out, the players' heads go down. There's real uncertainty in and around the club now, which of course there is. But the players now, we're looking to these players, these bastions who wear the shirt that we love, to really stand up and have their 5 minutes in the sun. And okay, some of them may not be here much after next week, but until that point comes, play for the shirt, play for the fans, because I don't want us to get humiliated. I don't want us the whole season to derail off the back of what's happened today, and indeed for us to get hammered on Saturday. And then it's a long way back, I think, emotionally from that point for both players and fans.
Looking at our team for Saturday, you mentioned Michael Bostwick might be playing because he's at training tonight. That's a big boost for us if he is, the way he's been playing lately. Yeah. Very much an if. So if he starts, you would imagine alongside him at the moment, it's going to be Kieran Gauthier. Who else have we got at the moment? You push Jack James in there maybe. Can James Sweet come back in and take the fullback slot? Who else can go in there?
I mean, by all accounts, Sweet was struggling with a knock, wasn't he, on Saturday? So if he's fit, if Sweet is fit, and it's a risk, then I would go with a back three of Jack James, Bostwick, and Gauthier. I mean, we heard some rumours yesterday, didn't we, Lee, that Fifield might be back, but that seems very, very unlikely. And it's almost, would you really risk him if he was? And I don't think he is going to be. But for me, I'd go with that three if James Sweet is fit. If not, we are really down to the bare bones at the back, aren't we, at the minute? And it's now a juggling exercise of how do we fit everyone into this team that could maybe give us a chance.
Where does Lewis Page fit into that then, Jake?
As if it was free at the back, I'd have him as a left wing back. So I think he could do a job down there. He's done it before this campaign. So, but I think it's unlikely that both Sweet and Bostwick will be fit. That feels unlikely, but who knows?
Your thoughts on it, Lee?
Yeah, I'm with Jake. If Sweet is fit and Boswick is fit, you go for the five at the back just to give you some stability. But then when we do have the ball, that turns into a three, and then Sweet and Pace can bomb on. I get the feeling it would make sense to pack out of the midfield and the wings. So, Jake, did you tell me on Saturday that the Betchman can play? Is he eligible for the cup?
We believe so, don't we, Dave?
Well, the thing is with that, you can play for two clubs in the FA Cup now, ridiculously. One in the qualifying rounds, one in competition proper. Now, this is a competition proper.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we don't know. We won't know. The club will know if they got permission from Coventry to play him or not. Don't know.
Okay, so for argument's sake, let's say he can play for us. I think he is the sort of player you need, simply because of what little I have seen of him. He keeps the ball absolutely majestically well. He keeps the ball, and he very rarely lets possession. And in a game of the magnitude like Saturday, that is what you need. If you've got, is it a luxury to have both him and Banton? Who knows? But I think you play your best players, and I think what little I've seen, Betchman and Banton with sort of Kone maybe sitting in front of that in the middle there. I don't know. That's the logical thing, because if the forwards aren't firing, you need to keep the ball, and Wall and Seri up front. It initiates you're going to have a more direct game, getting the ball forward, getting Seri running in behind, and then you've got Page and Sweet, if he's fit, bombing on, providing that width to then delivery to get the balls in for Wall. Ideal situation, of course. But again, until we know who is available and who is fit, it's guessing game. But ultimately, that's all we got to go on right now.
One name you didn't mention there, top goal scorer, Jasper Mayfair.
Yeah, and I think
is there a place for him in it?
I think there is, and again, but this is the point. He's definitely earned the right to be in with that argument, undoubtedly. But I think that Jasper will need to play in a system where it benefits his game. Would you have Jasper over Leo Seri? No, not in my team. Would you have Jasper up front in place of Wall? In the league, I probably would, if I'm honest, and I think he's earned that right. But unfortunately, we're not in that situation right now, and I think there's just something, for all his faults, and he has many. I think that Alex Wall needs to step up on set. I think he could be that pivot. He could really be that linchpin up front, because I don't know, we're going to need something, and I think he might. And as you say, Dave, they are experienced League One team. They might have a bit more of a handful with Alex Ward than they might do with Jasper.
Yeah, will do. It comes down to it could come down to mobility. Alex probably will hold the ball up better and probably will win more aerial challenges as well. But Jasper is a lot livelier on the deck, as we know.
Agreed.
He's got more chance of him running up than Alex. Alex is just linking up and flicking on and that sort of stuff. And getting battered and giving as good as he's got normally. Jasper, I don't know. Do you start him?
But the thing is, though, Dave, if you're Alex brings the link up play to his game, and if you're going to have the wing backs and people like filling up like at the midfield, that's what you need, surely. I mean, I don't know. It is so hard, and ultimately, it's really good for us to be sort of talking about the tactics and the X's and the O's about the game on Saturday, rather than the elephant in the room. But ultimately, it's good to have options. But I just think we keep it tight. And I think that Alex up front at the minute, he's going to command a bit more of their attention than Jasper might.
Yeah, go along with that. You can name 9 substitutes in the competition proper, which would be quite an achievement. So if
we might get a game, boys, at this rate. Bloody hell.
Say, if we get there early enough, we're in there. Well, allowing for a few more might have quit the club by then. That'll help our chances. But only 5 can come on, as usual. There you go. Right, anything else you want to add on it, Jake?
I don't really know what to say anymore. God.
It's not like you, mate. Come on, we're all good.
What I will say is it is brilliant to see all the Saints fans that have already bought tickets for Saturday. And Saints fans, I know this is really disheartening, but let's go there, make lots of noise, whatever happens anyway, get behind the team and enjoy the day. And my Saints players that are, maybe they're watching this, maybe they're not, the fans will be behind you on Saturday, whatever happens. Let's just all enjoy it as a football club, because these days don't come along very often at all. Let's enjoy it, and then come 5 o'clock, see what's happened, and then we can move on and look towards the future. So come on, Saints fans, let's really enjoy it. Let's make it a day of it.
A couple of weeks ago, I asked people for FA Cup memories, and I don't know what ones you got, but I just want to pick one I got here. It's from Jeff Gould, who's I think you're in your 90s now, aren't you, Jeff? Living out in Spain with his wife Jo. They still follow the Saints over there. He'd love the podcast as well. What he watch it? I might be going a bit too far with that one. He's got memories from 1968. In the first round, we played this lot, Wealdstone. We drew 1-1 at Lower Mead and beat them in the replay at home in front of 5,100 at Clarence Park. Not a bad turnout, quite reasonable. His memory is from the second round when we played Walsall. You two may have heard about it. Actually, it's about 15 months before I started watching. And we took an early lead through Bill Ratty. I was in touch with Bill a few years ago about this, and we held it until 5 minutes from the end when they got a possibly controversial equaliser. But Jeff was there. He's with Peter Hollingsworth. You'll remember him, Lee, and his wife Chris. They used to go to all our games. Sadly, no longer with us. They took their usual position alongside the York Road goal, and it was filling up. They decided our usual end-to-end change wasn't going to be practical. In fact, the gate was actually lower than it was for the Wealdstone replay. He scored. We were delighted. Things looked good for an advancement to the next round. All of a sudden, I turned to Peter and said, "We surrendered the midfield." And sure enough, Walsall equalised, and we lost the replay. We did, lost 3-1. John Butterfield scored.
It's your fault.
And he said the crux of his remembrance is quite simply that on the Monday, we drew Tottenham Hotspur, or we would have drawn Tottenham Hotspur in the next round. And there you go. Well, we saved Tottenham that. We saved Tottenham that embarrassment. Yeah.
I suppose there is a lot of memories. The FA Cup hasn't always been kind to us in recent years. Forest Green, obviously, the standout, and you could argue Forest Green has changed the path of the club in terms of off the pitch, in terms of crowds, hasn't it? Crowds wise, I don't think we've gained a lot from that day. We won't talk about results on the pitch since then. But FA Cup memories, even Mansfield at home. I know we got thumped in the end, but it was still it was still a great day, wasn't it? It was a brilliant day for the football club. Same with Grimsby. It was still great just to be on that FA Cup stage and putting up a bit of a competition. And of course, Carlisle United, which was a superb. Wonder who designed that ticket, by the way. That was a superb day, and we saw, didn't we? Actually, I was thinking about this on Saturday. Someone like Leo Seri, Junior Moraes in that Carlisle game, he really came to the fore, didn't he? And someone like Leo Seri away at Burton, if he can do a little bit of magic, maybe he'll come to the fore, and suddenly there might be clubs a bit interested. So
don't say that, man.
Well, I mean, we may as well, Lee. Everything's gone to crap, so let's just,
Don't forget, Junior Moraes, although it's kept quiet, it is believed that the deal for him to go to Peterborough had been concluded before the Carlisle match took place. He just put a bit of icing on the cake with a couple of half-decent goals. And again, Louis Fenner scored again, didn't he? All of these tickets lying around. There's one when we went to Burton last time.
Oh, Jesus.
For those for those podcast watchers who aren't in this country, Dave isn't showing us his pension right now. These are tickets from previous FA Cup games or games against Burton.
But what I will say about that Carlisle game, the junior goal, what was brilliant about that, end of the season, I was watching the FA Cup final, and then during a half time they showed the goals of the competition. And then suddenly I was watching it going, hold on, is that Junior Moraes? Is that Clarence Park? Is that the Saints? Why are they in the middle of my FA Cup final broadcast? So stupid stuff like that does mean lots of fans, just because how often are we ever featured in an FA Cup final? So that was just a very random memory. And I know a lot of Saints fans have been in contact about Grimsby, about, of course, Forest Green and all the recent ties. And going back, Lee, Dave, you mentioned Bristol City, which I know is an iconic one for older Saints fans. And you always bang on about Torquay as well. that game that you constantly mention every year. So,
Yay, 1980. Yeah.
so these memories, again, that's about Saturday. Whatever happens, it will be a memory. There's a lot of young Saints fans travelling on Saturday, and for a lot of them, this will be their first ever big FA Cup away day that isn't local.
Before your time, though, Jake, only just, but you'll remember this, Lee. The last time we played in the first round as an Isthmian League club, away to Stockport County.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that. Yeah. Miguel de Souza and co. I actually spoke to a few fans who were collecting their tickets at the ground today, and I said to them, just enjoy it, because I can count on one hand the amount of times that we've been in the first round of the cup, and despite the results, I've had a great time. I've had a great time regardless, and just enjoy it for what it is. It's going to be a bit harder given the news that we've found out today, but I think that it's games like this which make you become a football fan. You know, the camaraderie, the hugging people you don't really know on the terraces, the journey up there, the conversations, you know, all having breakfast beforehand or reading the newspapers, reading the previews and the websites. This is the sort of game that can really, you know, ingrain you into a club, really get you. And there's going to be some new fans coming, Jake, that we know of to the game on Saturday. So we need to embrace those. One thing I would say, and on a sort of housekeeping rule, spoke to a mate of mine who is actually a Burton fan. He moonlights as like a Forest fan as well, but we won't let him. Yeah.
Oh, not him.
No, not that one. Not that one. There's
good,
actually another
good.
one. Yeah.
Right, okay.
Just a bit of housekeeping stuff, like sort of aggro and pyro. The police up there won't tolerate any of that nonsense. You know, they've all got body cams. These guys, they mean the business. And I think, Jake, you alluded to this a bit earlier on, mate. We're going to fill that terrace and we're going to make it a really noisy, boisterous atmosphere. The last thing we want is to be, on this week of all weeks, to be tarnished with another brush of inappropriate chanting, pyro, smoke bombs, any nonsense at all. This is the week for all fans, okay, to really embrace the FA Cup, love our team, love our club, and get behind those players, whoever they choose to put on the shirt. So the fact of the matter is, boys, it's going to be a long old day on Saturday. We should enjoy every single second of it, but let's do it in good voice. Yeah. And come on, you Saints, really.
Yeah, prior to the Forest Green Rovers game, we'd lost the previous 5 first round ties. So us winning is a rarity. We know that. We've won 6 times in the first round. Didn't quite go on to Wembley after each of those, surprisingly. And of course, Saturday's game is our 9th consecutive away game in the FA Cup. So come on, Burton, let's go through. Let's get a home draw and just see what it feels like. That's fair enough request, isn't it?
We're not asking much, are we?
No.
Yeah.
Right. The manager's gone, apparently. Kept that quiet.
Fancy it, Tavs?
Do I fancy it? Got the job?
Yeah.
No, I stopped working years ago.
I mean, we have to preview this game, don't we? Not preview, we've done that. Predict. That's what we do, right?
Well, we won't bother previewing next Monday's game. Monday, Heart Senior Cup second round. We're away to AFC Welling. It's disappeared off the club's website fixture list. I don't know why. I spoke to a chap at Hearts F.A. He said, no, the game is still on. But if you're looking for where it's going to be played, it's apparently at Vauxhall Road, Hemel Hempstead's ground. So don't go flying around Welling looking for floodlights.
So as if this week couldn't get any worse, you dropped that bombshell, Dave.
That's next Monday. Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Right.
I've got a question. I've just had a question come in, fellas, and I know we're cracking on sort of time, but I think it is relevant. Is it a case the manager's leaving? Is it a case of that their visions didn't align with the owners of the club? Quick question that I thought I'd throw in
there. That is a hard one to answer. I mean, all the words in the summer when they were announced as staying were certainly about alignment and sort of all in it together. And it was the same at the fans forum, actually, wasn't it? they spoke with Harry Wheeler. Lawrence was, of course, in attendance. And it was all along the same lines there, wasn't it? So, I mean, it's interesting. Everyone talked about going for promotion this season, and it's hard. It's a hard one to say. I don't know.
Towards the back end of last season, talking to the head of football, he said he's never.
Is that what he said?
Back.
No wonder we're in the shit, mate. That's what he said. Jesus Christ.
Dave, you disappeared for the minute, and it's the best couple of seconds we've ever had.
You should be so lucky. And he said he'd never stopped them from signing any player they wanted. Whether they could get them because we were going down or whatnot, that could be a different thing.
Yeah.
But the club never stopped them getting the players they wanted up to the end of last season, according to him. There might be two sides to that story. Who knows?
Yeah, of course. And it will all eventually come out, won't it? But also, you look at the squad. This squad's a real mix, isn't it, of players that maybe you didn't think were particularly Culverhouse and Bazza's signings. But also, there is quite a few experienced lads that you do think those are their signings. And of course, that then leads into, are those the ones that are most likely to leave in the coming days and weeks?
One last question, which I think is a good one, actually, fellas. Has Bastock's legacy been tarnished by the news that has been announced in the last hour?
We speculate.
We've done it again.
I think, I know batteries are going on my earphone. Well, my battery's going, one or the other. I'll say yes. Doing it now, for whatever pressure Kings Lynn put on them, I think he said Kings Langley, Kings Lynn. It's a rotten time to do it. You can understand they've been put in a rotten position as well. It's a full-time position. You take it or you leave it. And they don't come up too often. But yeah, unfortunately, it does damage his reputation at Clarence Park a bit.
After all those games and that legacy, Jake, all those games and the fact that...
It's like Nobby. As a player, Bazza will always be loved. As a player, Nobby will always be loved. As a manager, people didn't want Nobby back, as you said earlier. We didn't enjoy it being under him as manager. Yeah. For whatever reason. Baz, this is playing record with supporters, I think.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, I'm a massive fan of Bazza. I love him.
We all are. Yeah.
He was a legend. And for me, he will always have a great record at Clarence Park and will always be welcome back. But like Dave says, I think it's purely the timing. Just before this cup tie, I think maybe even if it had just been a week later, I think it would have been a different case potentially for a lot of fans. Because even on Saturday, and this was similar to Nobby, when Nobby left, we'd just beaten Havant, I think 4-1 at home. Nobby came over, clap, 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 and it was almost like nothing had happened. And then 2 days later, he was gone. And it's similar here, isn't it? Saturday, of course, Culverhouse never really comes over, but Bazza came over, and I said to a few fans after the game, despite the result, Bazza looks happy. He looks delighted. You know, he looked like he was excited for the cup coming up. And then they're gone within, 72 hours. And that is what really hurts for fans, doesn't it? And it's a similar situation here. So, Bazza, we love you. But I think it's not a surprise. Football, Saints fans, it means a lot. And it is going to hurt, isn't it? So.
Right, prediction then. Saturday. Go on then, Jake. You're on my screen.
4-1 defeat.
That is the first time this season you predicted a defeat.
Can't really blame them, can you? I mean, it's it's not unprecedented.
But it's not a great attitude to have, is it? Really?
So it's coming from you.
Go on, then, Lee.
I mean, given everything that's happened, I'm gonna get absolutely pelted for this, but I don't know. I mean, let's just say romantically, we might get a draw.
The time. There's no replays in the FA Cup proper, but it will go to extra time.
Yeah.
Okay. What? How many goals?
1-0.
Okay.
1-0.
Burton are really struggling for goals at home. We haven't got an out-and-out goal scorer. We know that. But they are struggling for goals at home. So I think it's just going to be 6-0.
To Saints?
Of course. No, not quite.
Damn.
Just,
Which
just
which
the
is
matter happened.
which is better than Mansfield. It's better than Bristol City. So we're heading in the right direction.
yeah. I'll remind you this next week, Dave. Yeah. I think we should. Yeah, I don't know what to say anymore. I think there's probably a lot of. Oh, look at Lee. I think what we say is Kings Lynn still haven't announced them. So if that turns out it wasn't true, then apologies. But that's everything that we're hearing. So it sounds like that's what's going to happen.
Sounds about right, though. Hope they go down regardless anyway.
It does. There's also probably a load of stuff we forgot to mention on this week's episode. This is all going to be about the FA Cup game, and then that's been ruined. So, Dave, I don't know if you've got anything else you want to add.
Oh, hang on.
Yes, a prediction for Monday. AFC Welling. Assuming it's on at Hemel Hempstead, just to remind you. We're going to bounce back, weaken side, and just lose 3-0. Go on.
Goodness sake.
I could care so little about this game.
Exactly.
I'm going to go 2-1 Saints.
Yay!
I think it'll be a very, very young side, probably 2-0 defeat.
2-0 defeat.
Yeah.
God, you've really have switched sides tonight.
It's
Jake.
really hurting, Dave. It's really. He's a broken man. It's really hurting.
I am. I've just been staring off into the distance most of this.
That's what you do anyway, mate.
Oh, that's true.
Right, shall we get the hell out of here?
Yeah. We need to go before your headphones totally give up, Dave, and before Lee falls asleep.
So
thank you all very much for watching.
Thank
Let us
you.
know your thoughts on social media, Twitter, email, description below. Thank you all for your views and listens and watches on YouTube. We really appreciate it. And yeah, let us know your thoughts. We'll see you all in Burton. Despite everything, come on, you Saints. Thank you very much. Bye-bye, everyone.